Welcome to Radio Labyrinth, the Gen X pop culture podcast that covers any and all things movies, TV, radio, podcasts. As long as we like them, we are finger-licking good, unlike KFC. I'm your host, Tim Andrews, a regionally famous, I can't read this whole thing. Joining us this week, me and all of you, Jeff Leboff and Steph Swain. Hello.
Cheers.
Hello. Jeff's going to be farting throughout the show. This is season 5, episode.
Oh, there's that static again.
There's that static. So Jeff may have to jump off and come back in, but we'll work around it. Unless you just want to start over.
No, it sounds good.
Okay. This is season 5, episode 35. How you guys doing?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I forgot to invite Dustin, so I'm going to add him to because he's going to tell us about a new idea he has for YouTube.
It's a great idea, as a matter of fact.
Oh, he's coming on the podcast?
Yeah, I said, well, just to explain it to all of us, because I'm not good at reading texts and figuring things out. Like Steph the other day, she goes, hey, did you sign up for Amazon? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that email I sent you a week ago? Oh, yeah, okay. And it took 2 seconds, so it's done.
I understand you have a high pressure lifestyle.
Oh, yes, it's very tough. my days are just nonstop. I have plenty of time, believe me.
At least you're not out there door dashing like Autumn.
Yeah, Autumn Fisher from the Von Hessler Doctrine, and she used to be on this show. She's doing DoorDash, I think, to make money.
Totally understandable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it working out for her? Does she feel like it's worth the wear and tear on the vehicle?
I don't know. She just started doing it. Apparently, she made money over the weekend, as far as I know. I wanted to do something like that, or I did earlier on in the year, but I would hate to be delivering food. Hey, aren't you on the radio? Yeah, shut up. Fuck you. Here you go.
Well, I know I got some, my DoorDash Panda Express lady, she looked like she had COVID, so I'm pretty sure.
Wait, you get Panda Express delivered?
Yeah, Tim.
Okay. Okay.
It's called pajamas. It's called
But there's so many better choices for Chinese restaurants.
Right.
For Chinese food. Why are you ordering Panda Express?
Right.
Because I like the chow mein noodles. I don't know what to tell you. I like those chow mein noodles.
There's no secret they're always built right next to a vet clinic.
Well,
I'm not talking about the culture. I'm just saying that in general, they're always next to some medical facility, human or animal. I'm not casting.
I'm not eating their phony meats though. So.
Oh, you're still a vegetarian.
It matters not to me. Yeah, I don't really care about what's in their Beijing meow.
Ich mag nicht, as the German would say. It matters not.
Anything that will come to my door, I'll get it.
Okay. That's true. You'll take an Astray and you'll eat horrible, fast Chinese food. There's the places in the mall are just a step above Panda Express. But we started out the show saying we're finger looking good. You guys have heard the latest news about KFC, right?
No.
Oh, yeah, they're suspending the use of the of their centuries-old slogan, finger looking good, because of COVID-19.
Oh,
okay. You can't lick your fingers anymore.
Fucking bull. What do you? They assume that you're just going to eat the chicken without having washed your hands. Yeah, I just scratch my balls. I'm going to eat this chicken now.
I don't have a problem with this.
I don't even use my fingers. I just stick my face straight in the bucket.
Yeah, me too. I blend it. I take the bones out and I just blend it all and drink it.
I don't ever lick my fingers. I'm not a finger licker. I think it's repulsive and repugnant. And I will wipe my hands immediately, wash them. I don't fuck my fingers. It's disgusting.
Well, I think most people are like you. I don't lick my fingers if I can help it. Sometimes I do but other times I think, oh yeah, this is not whatever. But I think it's stupid. It reminded me of a Todd Berry joke from 2002 when he was talking about, a lot of businesses are taming down. I read that Victoria's Secret is going to tame their catalog because of 9/11. You remember when everybody, because of 9/11, we have to tone it down a little bit.
What did they? What?
It's an old joke from one of his CDs. He's talking about. Yeah, I read the other day that Victoria's Secret is gonna tame their catalog because of 9/11. I don't get it. To me, it's the same thing. Anyway, moving on.
Before we move on for this finger licking thing, I just wanted to say that I had a trainer about 8 years ago. We switched medical software programs, and they
I
sent
thought you
out
meant like a physical trainer, like a.
no.
Oh, okay.
And so they send the trainers out, and they got to sit with you at your desk and go over this. And it was a horrible transformation, or whatever crossover.
Transition.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And so she's sitting at my desk, and she's eating a Yoplait yogurt, and she gets it all. She got all of it that she could with the spoon, right? And then she takes her finger, and she gets every bit that she can with her finger. And I'm telling you that she goes down to this knuckle
Oh.
here, and
She's a three knuckler?
and sucks it, and all the way to that knuckle, sucks all that yogurt off her finger, and then made that noise at the end of it. And I almost cut her throat with a letter opener. It was the closest that I've ever come to committing homicide in my cubicle ever. And that was it. And I told him, I was like, no, she's not allowed.
Bachelor City.
Yeah.
And then she has the nerve to fondle my keyboard, molest my mouse.
She's getting her germs all over it.
With this sucked finger. It was, I don't know. As you guys could tell, I was traumatized by it.
I could tell.
That's what started COVID-11.
Yeah, COVID-11. I'm going to bring Dustin Lawler on to talk.
Yeah, bring Dustin on.
I'm bringing him on right now. By the way, check out my new coffee mug that I got from the Talking Sopranos.
Talking Sopranos.
Morning. Got you.
Dustin Lawler, how you doing?
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, pal. We can hear you, pal. What's going on? You hard at work. Look at you.
It's our video Svengali.
I know. Every video that you have seen or anything on our social media or wherever has come from Dustin's hard work, and we appreciate everything he's been doing. So thank you, man. And you had a new idea you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I was thinking that as far as you were looking for something to do for the Patreon page.
Right.
And what I was thinking was, instead of us being able to go out and go to the movies, why not bring the movies to the Patreons?
Okay. How does that work?
Like the Medium Popcorn guys did?
Yeah, similar, but they did theirs live with the group. What I'm thinking is, if we banked, I was thinking about calling it like Radio Labyrinth Rewind. And I know TESD's already got one, but we can work on the name. But rewatching some older movies and some newer stuff, but maybe older movies. And when we first saw them in the 80s or the 90s or 70s, for that matter, what you thought of them, how they affected you, and now going to watch them again and see, as we've gotten older, what things still stuck with us, what things still was good about it, or have they, completely changed over time as far as your perception. That was the premise behind what we would do. How we would do it, I think we would be able to take the Zoom and have you guys watch a movie, record it, very similar to doing a commentary. But what you would do is you would be able to have a commentary or a discussion, kind of like friends sitting around just watching a movie. How you wanted to interject, trivia. I was thinking more of just like we would do with the movie club. Like we would watch a movie, we would kind of talk about it. Talk over the funny parts, kind of talk over each other, but be able to bank those. Now with Patreon, what we could do is have those banked in Patreon, where Patreons at a certain level could come in and start the movie. They would have to have the movie. That's the one crux to this, is you have to have access to the film as well. They would start the movie. At the same time, we would have a countdown on the screen. And when it would start, the movie would play, and it would be like the patron and you three or four or whoever you'd want to have there would be watching the movie. It wouldn't have to be something that we would schedule, because any Patreon could sit down on a Saturday and watch 2 or 3 movies with Radio Labyrinth.
So it's a running comment during the film that we're making that they could put on and listen to us talk during the film.
Yeah, it'd be like going to the movies individually.
Okay.
Yeah, with Radio Labyrinth. And at the same time, go ahead.
Sounds like the concept of riff tracks.
Yeah, except we're not going to be doing improv.
No, it would be more of literally you guys watching the movie. Oh, I love this part. This part's great. And then interject with things about it.
Or that gal. That's that gal.
Yeah, I know her from. Oh, what is that? Look him up. And you guys would be live to each other, like recording a pod. And it would be on a Zoom, so you guys could do it at the same. And if you wanted to knock out something. To couple of movies on a Saturday or however you wanted to set time aside for it, we could work that out. But I got the idea from the popularity since I'm on YouTube so much now with the channel. A lot of movies are being reacted to. It's the reaction videos, and it's a real popular subgenre of YouTube. And the strange part about it is most of them are people who've never seen these movies reacting to them for the first time.
And they're younger watching.
And they're younger. Yeah. And well, what's even creepier is you've got 30 and 35-year-old people who've never seen Jaws before.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of interesting in its own right. But, with you guys, it would be more of, we talk about these movies, every week. You bring up certain one, Raising Arizona, Better Off Dead, things that we just kind of reference all the time. Well, if we could sit down and all watch those movies together, I mean, we can't unfortunately do the movie theater thing right now safely. So, why not bring the movie club to the patrons? And that was my idea.
No, I love that idea. And to that, I also think we should do every once in a while, maybe monthly, a viewing thing on Zoom where we watch a film together. Is that something we could bring it up on the screen? Like, how did those guys do it at Medium Popcorn?
Well, unfortunately, the reason why you have to have the movie yourself and play it, of course, for copyright reasons, so you wouldn't be able to actually post the film on the video. The video would look just like the pod, whether you want to have it everybody up on the screen at the same time, or I can edit it. However we need to. That's not really a problem. But for YouTube, the upside to this is we could also make, just like all these people are making these reaction videos, we could make the Radio Labyrinth Movie Club on YouTube as a clip show, like they make those. I mean, their process is you have a 13 to 15 minute video that condenses the whole movie. And your viewing experience as far as you guys reacting, that is what a reaction video is. What those people then do is on their Patreon, they have the whole movie of, the whole content from start to finish, no breaks, a lot easier to edit. But that's the whole movie that you get to sit and watch. But for all those that, want to get a tease for it, or want to see if they want to get on Patreon, maybe come in at that level, they would have these bank of YouTube reaction videos from Radio Labyrinth that would also, something for all radios to watch as well. If you not on, but it may entice people to maybe move over to the Patreon if they'd like to sit and watch the entire film.
First one's free. You get a little taste.
Yeah, you get a little taste.
All right. Yeah, I like that idea. We'll schedule it and we'll do a couple and then we'll put them out. What do you think?
Yeah.
You guys?
Yeah.
Maybe we can put a poll up on Patreon or on Twitter on the Radio Shack, and that way, if it starts to be something that everyone enjoys, they can start deciding what we watch. Awesome. That way it's a little more. Everybody kind of has a say.
I don't want Ira involved though. He'll talk to me.
Hey, I don't like that. Hey.
Just kidding. Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a great idea, man.
Can they be Netflix movies, or that has to be?
Yeah, well, that's the cool. I was thinking you could also pick an upcoming series if we have something that we know is going to be coming out in the next, let's say, month. Once it starts, if you guys wanted to, do a whole series of something, as long as it's available for everybody to watch. The only downside to it is history. So if you get a couple of months ahead, it may drop off Netflix. And so not everyone could do that. But Netflix sometimes they edit things a little different. So if you have a DVD of something, you might not have the exact same runtime, but I think it would be close enough to where, if someone wanted to watch 6 months, a year from now, they'd still be able to do that.
Right.
Well, listen, if you need to, you can go to a pawn shop or a flea market and pick up a copy of Hostel on DVD.
Yeah, that would be a good one. We can always throw Serbian film on there. I'm sure they get a kick out of that.
Yeah, we'd have to censor the whole thing, especially never mind. I'm not even going to bring it up. Did you watch it or something? Have you seen it?
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it years ago. Yeah. It's stuck with me. It still sticks with me.
The master of the fuck. I love the translation from Serbian to English. To shake hands, the master of the fuck. Well, let's do it. So we're gonna do
that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll get to work on it on our end, and we'll share it with everybody else. So, Steph, you got some stuff to talk about?
Jeff's little documentary. He was so excited about the movie Skin with Jim McBride. That's like he's like behind the whole thing. And Jeff put this little story up where, I don't know, Jeff. I guess he just wanted us to know about it. that they're talking about it, and that they're going to be a little bit more sensitive at this documentary. It's not just going to be a bunch of tits and ass. It's them really exploring the history of nudity in film since like the first time.
Yeah, but will there be tits and ass in it?
Oh, there's lots of tits and ass. No, for sure. Totally.
All right.
But they are handling.
Should have named it Possibility, the movie.
So, Jeff's into this. This is like the most educational documentary he'll probably watch his entire life. And Jim, he talks about like his favorite nude scene, which I think if you ever were a fan of Mr. Skin, it's Phoebe Cates from Fast Times.
Mm-hmm.
He's often talked about that, which you could do a lot worse, I guess. And he talks about the most famous nude scene of all time, which is, for some reason, Kate Winslet, I guess because Titanic was such a huge movie, has such a wide appeal, that I guess her boobs were seen by more people than anybody in one movie, basically. But the nudiest nude movie of all time, and I've never seen this movie, and I've only heard about it, is Caligula.
Oh, I haven't seen that since I was in junior high. But yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
What is the deal with it? I mean, I heard there's like real porn.
Yeah, there's real sex in the movie.
There's two versions of it. There's one version. Now, first of all, it's produced by Bob Guccione from Penthouse Magazine, and there's an X-rated version and an R-rated version. John Gielgud and Malcolm McDowell are just two people that come to mind who are in this movie set in ancient Rome about Caligula, and they didn't know when they were hired on to do the film that there was going to be porn in it. And so there's porn in it, yeah. There's also a very disgusting scene where they torture a guy, force feed him wine. You know this one I'm talking about, Jeff? They make him drink
a bunch of bottles of wine, then they stab him.
Yeah, they stab his bladder.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. So didn't Bob Guccione, didn't he like sneak? Didn't they come on set whenever the rest of the cast went home and then they filmed these sex scenes at night? And then he just spliced him into the movie without telling anybody or something?
Yeah, I'm sure that they've all disavowed that film. It's not really that good anyway. So
no, it's not a very good movie.
But the documentary just goes on, and they try to be sensitive with the whole Me Too thing, and talk about how some women may have done nude scenes that they didn't want to do, and how there is now a coordinator who will help them make the decision if it's just gratuitous or if it pushes the narrative. But then there's people like Shannon Elizabeth who said she wouldn't even have a career had she not shown her cans in American Pie. So
oh my God, Gore Vidal wrote the screenplay for Caligula. Anyway, apropos to nothing.
Oh wow, that's interesting. So anyway, the documentary is called Skin. Jeff, is it out now?
Yeah, it's out now on pay-per-view. You can rent it on Amazon and stuff.
Speaking of documentaries, good call, and we'll get to this later, but good call on the Happy Happy Joy Joy documentary. Wow.
Yeah, that was good.
Sort of feel bad for him, but you don't really. I mean,
isn't he because of his teen problem?
Yeah, we can talk about it a little bit, but I mean, just the guy was brilliant and a tortured soul, and he couldn't keep his hands off of The Girl Scouts, which is our next little.
Well, yeah. I mean, who do you guys get Girl Scout cookies every year?
Used to. I have
Yes.
a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of fell off of getting them because one thing, Keebler has mimicked so many of their cookies now. I mean, you can get them anytime you want, basically. Keebler makes them, and they're half the price. And you don't have to get, lambasted by these little bitches when you're going into the store. They just assault you. But anyway, so they've got a new cookie out, though, which I may come back.
My Effie sister is in the other scouts. She want to learn how to camp and tie knots. I just want to sell cookies and learn how to sew.
I mean, I will run in, I will crawl on my hands and knees through the cart corral just so I don't have to walk past their table because they're just shouting at you. But anyway, they have a new cookie coming out. It's called the Toast Yay, and it's going to be new for 2021. And it's a little French toast. It's a little French toast. It's shaped like a French toast.
I know Snickerdoodle.
Yeah. Why is Cookie Monster upset about this?
Cookie Monster no like French toast. Cookie Monster still mad they not let U.S. Air Force use base in original Iraq War. Cookie Monster is harder to do than I thought. Well, I'll be able to do that. Well, that's Grover. C is for cookie, and Girl Scouts have them bad. No, okay, I'm going to abandon that. I mean, they can't all be zingers, as Primus likes to say. But I don't know. I'm not excited about a French toast cookie.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, what's in it? Is it just a dry?
It's shaped like a toast, and it's got like a white frosting on it.
It looks like it's like their classic shortbread cookie.
Yeah.
But then it's got a layer of sort of like a cinnamon icing on the top of it.
I think I draw the line at Do-si-dos. That's the one I like. I used to like the Thin Mints when I was a kid, but I can't eat them anymore. I don't want to have to breathe. It's like you're opening a can of Vicks and sucking it in while you're chewing chocolate. It's just those two things don't go together. Peanut butter and chocolate go together. Mint and chocolate I don't like together anymore.
I ate so many Samoas one night that I literally could feel my heart.
Oh, Samoas are good. Yeah. What did I say? Did I say Samoas? I meant Do-si-dos if I didn't say that. The peanut butter ones I like.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Well, you can get them online, so there is that. So next year, because of the COVID that they seem to think is never going to go away, that we're just going to live like this forever. But so maybe next year you won't even have to deal with little Dakota.
No, don't rush it. Look, we don't know what's gonna happen. I want everybody to wear a mask and not lick your fingers when you're eating chicken or little Girl Scout cookies or anything like that. We don't know. We just don't know. Well, listen, we do know if Joe Biden wins the election, the disease goes away the next day. So let's all cross our fingers.
100% true.
Yes.
It's going to go away.
Yep.
Yes.
I believe that.
Plasma. Anyway.
So I should vote for Joe, and it'll go away. Sounds like a good plan.
That's right, pal. Vote for Joe.
He should have used that as his slogan.
Vote
Honestly.
for Joe and the Kamala. Is that how you say it? Look, if you vote for Joe, I'm going to make you wear a mask the minute you wake up. You have to wear it when you go to sleep, buddy.
Wait, how can you smell people's hair? How can you smell children's hair through the mask?
It's very simple. You just bend over and get a nice whiff of that breath and good to go.
Well,
I have a feeling those videos are going to be shared. Anyway, we're not talking about that.
Anyway, it's whatever. It's funny. What are you going to do? I mean, we are living in a parody. It's not even it's not even reality anymore. I don't even.
It's like your grandpas. The one that you like and the one you don't like are running against each other for your love.
Yeah, like I said, two of the most susceptible people to COVID. This is exactly what we want.
Yes.
People that are the weakest. But who here, and I know among us, we are all Drunk History fans.
Mm-hmm.
And why did Comedy Central cancel this show? I mean, even after they had renewed it last year, they got stumbled up a little bit with the COVID, obviously. They had to halt production, but they were beginning the next season, and they have just canceled it.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Same with Tosh.0. They renewed that for 4 seasons, and then they just canceled it.
Why are they getting rid of it? There's got to be something behind it. Are they going to
They're trying to get rid of all live action on Comedy Central, except for The Daily Show.
Why? That's the worst show on the network, The Daily Show. It's not funny. He's not funny. It's it's a circle jerk of boring crap. He's not funny. Jon Stewart was funny, and before him, the original host was funny. Why would they do that? What are they going to show?
They're trying to get into all animation.
All animation. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the Beavis and Butthead reboot and
All right.
But keeping with that, shows that I know Jeff liked Aquafina's show, right? And
Yeah,
I loved Southside. I thought that was one of the funniest shows of all last year. They're going to be they sold them off to HBO Max. So it's so weird that I don't know why they canceled those two shows. They decided not to sell them off to HBO Max. I mean, obviously, Tosh, he'll find a new home. I mean, everybody loves that show. Or he has a strong following. I mean, it's the same with that Ridiculousness show. People like watching that crazy shit. But anyway, Southside's going to be on there. Aquafina's going to be on there. And I guess that's what they're going to do, any of the shows that they had. So, Jeff, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if HBO Max would pick up Detroiters?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Start the Twitter campaign.
That's what I was going to tell you. You're so good with that, with, badgering people and making things happen. So I thought maybe you could just start going ahead and reaching out to Sam Richardson and let's get on this. So what's her face from Full House is going to jail, I guess, finally.
Ain't Becky?
Yeah, I don't get why she paid $500,000 to fake like her kids were on a rowing team.
Because her kids are stupid. And her daughters are both extremely stupid. Have you ever watched their influencer videos?
No.
Oh, they are so vapid. I mean, I can't use the word I would like to use, but they are very vapid and empty, which is the same thing. And they're just horribly stupid. I mean, they were never going to go to college. They don't need to go to college. I mean, the one daughter made so much money from being an influencer that she doesn't need college. So she even said in one of her videos, I just wanted to go for the experience. I don't really want to learn anything. Okay, then don't go to college. But, the Aunt Becky, Lori Laughlin, could have donated money for a wing or, the actor or the theater department and still got her kids in school. So I don't know why all these people did that.
Yeah,
I don't care. I mean, she shouldn't go to jail. Why should she go to jail? I mean, they're letting people who, because of COVID-19, governors and stuff are letting people out of jail who murdered people, rapists, or, hardcore criminals. They're go out in the community. And a lot of them are doing it again. You think they're going to, if they let her out of jail early, is she going to go try to get another kid into college? I don't think so. I think
I don't know. Do you think that they'll pay her 7 cents an hour to fight these fires like they have, like they normally would? But they have hardly anybody to help them fight the entire state fires because they use so many prisoners. That's usually what they do, and they'll pay them like 7 cents an hour to
they
go
don't
out
have
there.
any?
They've let them all go. They let like 60,000 people go.
Well, maybe California will get rid of some of their burdensome environmental laws, and they won't have so many forest fires.
Well, maybe. Who knows? But I just wondered if she'll be subject to that. Will they strap it on her and
have to save her own home?
That's my house. That's my house.
Nobody cares, Aunt Becky. Grab a hose.
Hey, is it full? Is the house full?
Her husband got 5 months, and she got 2.
Massimo Giannulli.
She's going to be in the new show. It's called Big House.
How good of a designer are you if your shit sold at Target?
I don't know. Target's kind of gotten real bougie with their prices. They're not the cheap. Yeah, they're a little bougie now. You used to be able to Target and get a little deal, but ever since Isaac Mizrahi rolled up in there, he's kind of
they kicked out Massimo, and there it went.
Yeah,
they threw Massimo to the curb, and then so this Mizrahi thing. Anyway,
I got one of Chrissy Teigen's pans.
You mean her face?
Yeah, they're molded after her face.
And I say that with, obviously I would give every fingernail. I'd give it all to look like Chrissy Teigen, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I have always thought that she always looked like one of those. What was that show with the dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs?
Was it called Dinosaurs? Where they had the little baby dinosaur?
Not the mama, that show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the mama. Yeah, I always thought she looked like one of those dinosaurs. She has those little baby dinosaur teeth.
Mhm.
Anyway, who is jacked about this socially distanced
Nobody. No one is.
Thanksgiving Day parade? That
Don't
they're
let any
probably-
people go. Just drag the fucking balloons down the street. You know, keep Rent and Hamilton and all those awful musicals from doing their little, lip syncing thing in front of the NBC crew. I'm assuming it's on NBC. The
I
Macy.
don't. Well, here's the thing, Tim. I think this thing is going to go on for days. Like they're just going to they're going to do a balloon a day and nobody can gather around to watch it. They're just going to slap one on a truck, drag it down the street every day of November.
I want underdog.
Basically.
Underdog balloon to save everybody.
Oh, that would be so sweet. But they say there's going to be the same thing with the Christmas tree. They're going to put it up, but it won't be fun. It'll just be there. And they're going to light the shit up in the middle of the night, and everybody's going to pretend that we're not living in a goddamn nightmare.
And then
Merry Christmas.
Go up and set it on fire. Merry Christmas.
They're going to purposefully heat up the ice rink in front of it so it's a pool. Nobody can get in.
You ever gone ice skating there?
Not there. No.
Never been there.
I've been there. I've been ice skating there too. It's fun. Although ice skating is not, I don't really think it's that fun.
Mm.
I totally agree. I've almost cut the 2 times I went, I almost cut my fingers off. Those blades are sharp.
Yeah, they are.
They're
I think you're
sharp.
doing it the wrong way.
I was absolutely. I don't know how to do it the right way. I did the same thing with skiing. I fell off the lift like at the top and mangled myself. And the first time and the only time I went.
The best use for an ice skate shoe with the skate on the bottom of it is to take a tooth out when you're stranded on a desert island. Speaking of FedEx, those motherfuckers, man. If you ordered something from FedEx Ground, and I don't know, we live in Atlanta or the Atlanta area, there is a couple of locations for the ground people where they have packages, and they are weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks behind. And when you call, you do not get an answer, and it takes you a minute to try to find the. I'm an asshole, so I looked up, tried to find the direct dial number for the various stations. The one in northern Atlanta is Norcross, Georgia. And they don't they kind of hide that. They don't want you calling there. And I got some guy and he's like, I can't tell you anything, sir. I don't know. I'm like, why can't I come pick it up? I don't know. I'm like, all right. So every day, I wouldn't bitch about it, but every day I get a text in the morning that says your package will be delivered by end of business or end of the day. And then around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I get a text that says, your package has been rescheduled for tomorrow. This has been going on for 3 weeks. I ordered the fucking thing in May. So that's a problem. But I'll shut up because everybody's got troubles.
Well, it could be worse. You could be getting it through the U.S. Postal Service.
Why? It would have been here by now.
Oh, it would never be in a bin somewhere because there's no mailboxes or people to deliver stuff.
It's not a ballot. It's a baseball card. Baseball cards get here quicker than ballots.
Let me. I will concur with Jeff because I am get the mail and stuff at my job, and I'll get huge envelopes full of our mail from other offices.
Wow.
Just where they've just gotten all of our mail. We get all their mail, and it can be from whatever. 2 weeks ago, and I feel kind of bad about this. I do have some regrets. I got someone's negative COVID results in the mail, and they live in South Carolina.
Ooh.
It was from the Kroger pharmacy.
Wait, negative or positive?
They were negative.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I thought about I should repackage them and mail them on so that they know that they're negative, but I figured they're going to call. I'm sure. They know that they're fine. If they were positive, I really would have done it, but then I just didn't bother. So it's laying on my desk still. And I keep thinking I should just go ahead and mail this to this person in South Carolina so that they know they don't have this shit. And they're just sitting there wringing their hands.
And washing their hands.
But this South Carolina is,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's how jacked up it is.
Well, all right. Let's move on to something a little more uplifting. What do you think?
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Enough of this COVID 2020 bullshit with the jumping Chinese worms and the murder hornets. That's the new thing I saw yesterday or this morning, that there's the Chinese jumping worm is an invasive species. Man, fuck them. They bring all their shit here. All right. So We'll go back in time.
They're delicious, though, those Chinese jumping worms.
Oh, yeah, if you fry them right.
They're fun to ride if they have a yellow saddle.
We are going to hop in our TARDIS and go back to August of 1980.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
1981. That is 39 years ago. Wow, that's a long time.
Rough year for me.
Why was it a rough year for you, Jeff?
I lost my air traffic controller job.
Yes.
Sit home weeks at a time, just playing video games.
Atari, Kaboom. Yeah. You had the paddle. You were rich enough to where you had the little paddle. I had Activision because we shopped at Sears.
My mom got married.
Yeah, you sent us a picture of you as the adorable little ring bearer.
Oh yeah, well, the little fat flower girl. That was me.
Oh, you were the flower girl. Yeah, you're too old to be ring bearer.
Yeah, she got married, and we moved in with my stepdad in our new home in a crappy neighborhood, garbage place, and then I stayed all night with my grandma for a few nights after they got married. You know, he never lived with us or anything. My mom was very, whatever about that. And then the first night that I came back to live in our new house together, I heard them in the shower together laughing, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I remember clutching my pillow and crying my eyes out because I was so disgusted.
They were just trying to save water, Steph.
It was horrible because my mom had never dated anybody. Like, she was just me and her from the time I was born. And then flash forward, she's in the shower with some dude. It was really, really upsetting.
Single lady, she needs some.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
It is. I tried to go. Dustin, what were you doing in 1981?
Let's see. I was 6. So, running around the woods, East Tennessee, working in my grandmother's and grandfather's farm during the summer. You're old enough to walk. You're old enough to spread some fertilizer. And ironically enough, to this day, that's what I'm still doing.
We all do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And I tried to think back in 81 what exactly I was doing. So I was getting ready to start, if we're talking about the summer, wrapping up 5th grade and then having the whole summer and then going to 6th grade. So that's that summer for us. And I was getting everything wrong because I was thinking everything that happened like a year or two later. I don't think I had made it to Little League yet, or if I had, I wasn't on a team yet. And so that blows everything. I might have still been in the pre-Little League. I don't even remember. See, I have a real good memory about certain
minor league. We're in minor league then.
Not in 81 though, because I would have been 10. In Little League, you start at 9. So yeah, I was on the Phillies. The team was called the Phillies, and the manager the coach was our mailman, Mr. Fair, and he was a nice guy. He'd always say, "Shake her off, Timmy." And and I was a pitcher and all that stuff. But I loved baseball. All summer long, we would either play our Little League game, or we'd have a pickup game, or goof off, do whatever. The little town we grew up in, Jeff and I, a little town in Mansfield, Pennsylvania, was a great place to spend your summer if you're a kid. I imagine now it'd probably be pretty boring as an adult, but it was a great place. You had woods, you had creeks, you had all sorts of shit. It was a blast. Watching a lot of TV because cable started to ramp up. So in August of 1981, the first big thing to happen, of course, happened on August 1st, which was the debut of MTV, which we did not have. Did not have MTV, but they did have it in Elmira, New York, where my dad lives. So when I go visit him, click MTV all day.
Somebody spray painted "I want my MTV" on the little cable building.
Yeah,
next to the church where we had our Boy Scout meetings. Do you remember that?
I do.
I don't know who it was, but somebody spray painted "I want my MTV" on that little building.
Nice.
We had MTV. I saw the very first moments that it came on.
Wow.
My stepdad was excited about it too. And the cable box we had, do you recall? It was like this wooden thing with these switches. Yeah. Yeah, that was the cable box.
Yeah, I remember that. We didn't have that box at first. Oh, did we? I don't remember. I know we had the HBO. The thing for HBO was this big tan box. You had to slide it over to get HBO.
Yeah.
Some weird shit like that. But we had HBO right away when as soon as they made it available. My mom got HBO, so that's how I saw those wonderful movies with nudity in them.
Yeah, we had Skinamax.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't have that. We just had HBO. And now, did you have cable, Dustin, when you were younger, or were you just like the antenna guy?
We were in East Tennessee, one of the last places to kind of get the cable through there. But I remember it was probably 83 before we finally got it.
I blame Al Gore for that.
Yeah.
We don't want cable. No one here likes the Braves.
Yeah, it was a lot of, as soon as we got it, for me, even, just jumping into cable, it was a lot of, being kind of exposed to like Chicago's, TV channel.
WOR.
Yeah.
We had WPIX, but we had that before massive cable. But TBS was the big one,
Yeah, TBS was a huge one. That and all the, then they started colorizing everything and it just went to shit.
I'm Tad Turner. I'm going to colorize everything. I'm going to colorize Sanford and Son.
I'm going to colorize the first 10 minutes of The Wizard of Oz.
I don't like sepia. Sepia sucks.
Ted Turner. I wish he still owned all that shit, but he doesn't. The CNN debuted, and I was like, oh my God, it's news. And it's all day. I would sit and watch it. I didn't even know what the hell they were talking about. I would watch ESPN because it was just new to see these people you didn't know and these channels that you didn't know. And I would watch ESPN all day, and they didn't really have anything. They didn't have pro football yet. They carried what? They had, they didn't have baseball either, so it was Australian rules football and kickboxing, where they had the boxing gloves on and they would kick each other with their feet, which is how you kick people. But
didn't they bowling?
Yeah, bowling. Can't beat bowling.
So the first iteration of ESPN was ESPN Ocho.
Yeah. Yeah, basically they didn't have anything. They would interview people, but the announcers were really cool. And again, it was new, and it's the TV, and it's not, I can watch this all day. I can watch TBS starting at 3:00. I can watch sitcoms from the 50s and 60s all day long. And that was kind of cool, I thought. So other than that, IBM introduced the PC, the at-home computer, the first one, on August 12th. And on August 25th, Voyager 2 reached Saturn. So you'd wait a couple of more months, and you got the really nice National Geographic. That's what you had to wait for to see the pictures. You couldn't look at them online. You had to wait for the National Geographic. And the pictures were always really good in that. And my grandfather had a subscription going all the way back to like the 30s. So it was cool.
Oh, I know your grandfather had a subscription.
Jimmy, you want to look at some of those ladies from Botswana?
Did you used to get out those pygmy magazines?
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really. I've never been with like, oh, look, boobs. Because I always just thought, these are people who live in a not in a different way from us, and it didn't really. I didn't look at it like I would see Cheryl Tiegs in the mesh outfit in Sports Illustrated. Nipples. No, it wasn't the same thing. Wasn't the same thing. I just thought
it was very utilitarian.
Well, that's just I knew at that age. I'm like, it's hot there, and seriously,
titties.
It was just the confusion when you got older that when you actually saw some breasts, they weren't like waist level.
Well, no,
you were like, hey, those are supposed to be up there.
Some of those ladies had nipples that were wider than their breasts.
True.
Well, they were feeding 20 children.
I know that. Well, they've been feeding one child. I don't want to knock them. I'm not knocking their culture. I'm saying that even at that age, I was like, boobies. Maybe if I had been 6 or 7, it would have affected me. But at that age, I was like, no, I understood why they were that way. I really did. I understood why they were that way. All right.
Pretty much once you've seen one set of boobs, you want to see them all.
Oh, see all of them. Thank you, Ron White. Okay, let's talk about the movies that came out in August of 1981. I've done a little breakdown on some of these. Some of them I left off because they're movies that no one's ever heard of, at least that we never heard of or never entered into our pop culture lexicon. But starting off on August 7th, 1981, Tarzan the Ape Man was released. And I remember a lot of hype about this. I believe it was the follow-up movie for Bo Derek after the movie 10 that she did with Dudley Moore, the Blake Edwards movie. And now this one was directed by her husband, John Derek. Do you guys remember John Derek?
Yep.
And do you remember what movie he was in that we used to see every single year?
No.
He's in the 10 Commandments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of Moses's buddies, and he was a like a B movie actor and a producer or whatever. So he gets this young wife, Bo Derek, who was all over the place back then, and she was a sex symbol. She was in Playboy or Penthouse or whatever. And so the movie starred Bo Derek, Richard Harris, and Bo Derek's tits. And that's pretty much all you need to know. The guy who played Tarzan, I never saw him in anything else. I don't even remember his name. But it was a subpar Tarzan film as far as Tarzan films go. Lord of Greystoke was a lot better.
Yeah.
Moving along, go ahead. You guys interrupt me if you want to say anything.
It was good to watch it at 2 a.m. on HBO.
Yeah. You know what wasn't?
Personal best.
Yeah, we stayed up that late to watch Personal Best. What a ripoff. She was better in Star 80. More to look at. Moving on to the same weekend, the same day, August 7th, 1981, Heavy Metal. Wow. That is a film that I have memories of being better than it truly is. And of course, it was inspired by the magazine, produced by Ivan Reitman. And the only people in it that I really know as far as their voices are concerned, a lot of SCTV people. You had John Candy, Joe Flaherty, Eugene Levy. You also had Harold Ramis and John Vernon, who was Dean Warmer in Animal House, and his daughter was Kate Vernon, was on Battlestar Galactica, and the most recent one, not the original. So I watched it then. I watched it when it came out on HBO. I mean, and then I've watched it a couple times ever since. But I never really cared about it all that much. Did you guys like that movie?
Soundtrack's really good.
Yeah, the soundtrack is good. I only know 2 songs off of it though, really. But as far as the film goes, you were kind of excited for it? You would go to we had a place called Cleveland's Newsroom, and they had every magazine that was available, but they also had candy, so kids would go in there. Heavy Metal was up on the shelf with Playboy, Penthouse, and Wee.
Yes.
And you couldn't open it and look at it. It had a wrap around it or whatever. But you occasionally at that age you're resourceful. You could find something and find a magazine and find someone to get it. But anyway, back to my original point. Canadian produced film, so that's why all those guys from SCTV in Canada are in it doing the voices.
I like the South Park parody of it better than the movie.
Oh yeah, me too. Major Boobage from season 12, episode 3 of South Park with Gerald Bravlovsky and Kenny getting into a fight because they're sniffing cat piss and tripping. And while they're sniffing the cat piss and tripping, they go to the heavy metal world where everything's made of boobs. There's just boobs and nipples on everything. The spaceships. Everything.
Yeah, I used to get, my uncle had a collection of all the heavy metal magazines.
Right.
So I would look at those. I'd sneak into his apartment above my grandparents' house, and he would have all these like Kiss albums and all these records, and a big stack of the heavy metal magazines. So that was what I actually knew first. I actually would flip through those, and I saw the artwork and everything, the boobs, whatever, but just the artwork itself was kind of neat. I never saw anything like that before.
I like that too, and that was about the time I had really started getting into comic books. So any kind of graphic material like that, not graphic in sexual way, but graphic arts type stuff, I was really digging. I'm not looking, so you guys gonna have to, because I'm looking at the sheet, so you're gonna have to just jump in.
But yeah, I mean, it was something that I knew that there was going to be a movie. They even announce it a lot in the magazine. You look through these old magazines, and they would just promote the hell out of it. And then it was probably maybe 4 or 5 years later, maybe 86, 87, I actually got a chance to see it. And I guess my age, I was a little younger, but it kind of had a lasting effect as far as it was, to me, I kind of got MTV. We got cable later, so it kind of was all one big amalgam of this has something to do with MTV. This has something to do with what's going on outside of the little dome of East Tennessee that we lived in. And so I thought it was great. I mean, I knew it was wrong as far as to look at it my age, but it definitely opened some mental doors for me later on. That's for sure.
How about you, Steph?
Yeah, I didn't really
You didn't care?
watch it when I was a kid. Nah, yeah, I didn't even know about it till I was like a teenager or something. I wasn't very cool. And like I didn't have any older siblings, anybody to show me anything. My mom listened to all gospel music, so anything that I ever found, I had to just kind of come along. But
Heavy goddess.
but yeah, and I'm watching it when I was a teenager. I was like, you know, and I was into all kinds of the lame ass hair metal at the time. I didn't get into really good metal until I was in my 20s. I was in my 20s when I was listening to Dio and stuff like that. I mean, when I was a teenager, I was listening to crap, garbage, Cinderella. Cinderella was as hard as it got for me.
Cinderella is not crap. They're actually, just take away all the horrible makeup and hair. They were a good little blues rock band. So I'm going to give them that.
Well, I like their lame stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nobody's fool.
Right, exactly.
That guy, man, he made Mick Jagger look like he had thin lips. Jeff, did you want to say anything about heavy metal? I'm sure your dad probably let you watch it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
It was cool. The animation was really cool and cartoon boobs. I enjoyed it.
Can't beat that. On August 13th, Gallipoli came out. It's one of Mel Gibson's first big movies. It's basically a movie about a couple of young guys, too young to join the army in Australia, but they want to fight. So they join up, they figure a way to join up, and they go fight in one of the bloodiest battles of World War I in Gallipoli. A very, very, very bloody, horrible battle. But it's the first time I remember seeing Mel Gibson in a movie. That and Bounty, which may have come out after, I think. But I really enjoyed that movie, Gallipoli. It was a good war picture. They're buddies. You guys ever see it?
I never even heard of it.
Yeah, it was on not HBO. It was on something. It might have been the movie channel back then. My grandparents had cable, and they had different movie channels. They would do the free weekends a lot, so I just would watch every movie. Just because.
And it was a foreign film too. So
it's an Australian movie, yeah.
Yeah, which at the time that probably would come in on a different HBO, a different provider.
Right, and not something that would necessarily be in a theater. But here's the one. Here's the biggest one. Okay, this one I think is the iconic film from that summer. One of them for sure. An American Werewolf in London, which came out on August 21st, 1981. Directed by John Landis, starring David Naughton, Jenny Agutter, I don't know how to say it. Griffin Dunn, who was very, very good in that, and also very, very good in Johnny Dangerously. What is that noise that I keep hearing it?
I hear it.
Okay. Anyway, so Griffin Dunn is fantastic in this movie. He is his buddy who gets mauled and keeps haunting him. The classic comedy horror flick that set the bar for everything that followed, I think, and it was very high. It was a high cultural and commercial success. Great special effects for that time. It's that guy Savini, right? Did him? Is that who did it?
I think it's Rick
No,
Baker.
it was Jim Baker. Yeah, it was Rick Baker.
Oh, that's right. It was Rick Baker, right? Rick Baker.
Yeah.
Just amazing movie and scary but funny, and it made a big impact on me when it came out. Did you guys all see it when it came out, or how long did you wait to see it?
I think it was at HBO.
Yeah, me too. My mom didn't take me to go see American Werewolf in London, but it was on HBO, and I was allowed to watch it. So.
Yeah, once it was on cable, I think I was like 10. Because back then it took like 2 years for a movie to make it to the pay channel. But me and my stepdad, we watched it together. He loved it. He was a horror movie freak. He's the one who made me love horror movies so much, and we just like bonded over this movie big time. And what I love about this movie is a lot of times you go back and you'll watch movies from that time, like The Howling and Salem's Lot and stuff, which I still. Yeah, I mean, it's like I still like those movies, but this movie, it still looks good. The transformation still holds up.
John Landis was a good director.
He really was. And it was funny and it was creepy. I mean, the dream sequences where he would have those nightmares of the monsters showing up and shooting everybody and cutting people's throats and shit like that. I mean, and the fact that it was David Naughton, who at the time I was like 10, I thought he was like hot as fuck.
What happened
for a 10-year-old? I thought he was so hot.
You wanted to be a pepper?
Well,
Wait,
yeah.
wasn't he the pepper guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know American Werewolf in London, Dr. Pepper, and that show Making It. That's all I know about him. What
No,
did he do
because then he came on one of those nudie movies that I snuck out and watched when I was like 11 called Separate Vacations. Do you remember that?
No.
Him and his wife.
That
and-
part of that makes my point for me is that he was on this nice trajectory and then
What happened to him?
I don't know. He was a decent actor. Remember that show Making It? Making
Yeah.
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 Making It. I don't know the rest of the words.
Anyway, but yeah, I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies of all time.
Moving right along to same day, August 21st. This is one of my favorite coming-of-age films. It's called Private Lessons with Howard Hessman, Sylvia Crystal, Ed Begley Jr., and Eric Brown, who played the young lad who was molested by Sylvia Crystal in this film. Even I remember seeing the commercials for this on TV. They would play Rod Stewart's "Tonight's the Night," and you see her. She's like removing something off her shoulder, and the kid looks our age. And it's like, oh, what's going on with this? The only other thing I remember Eric Brown from is he was Vinton Harper Jr. on Mama's Family, and he played a.
Oh yeah.
But basically, the plot of this film is Eric Brown's character. His dad is very wealthy. They're very wealthy. Dad goes away for the summer. The maid is going to watch him, and the chauffeur, who's played by Howard Hessman, and they're going to scam the guy. So Howard Hessman gets Sylvia Crystal's character to seduce him, and so there's a lot of weird nudity and bizarre stuff. You'd never get away with that movie today.
No, probably not.
First of all, she's not a teacher, but anyway, yeah, he's probably too old.
Just the plot point of using that to attain money from his father seems like the wrong way to go.
Yeah.
At this
The only person in the film that wasn't harmed was the kid who was happy as fuck. I mean, so
By the way, I think that noise, it was my dog Norman. He was licking his honey claw. I apologize.
is that what he calls it?
Honey Claw.
I call it his honey claw because he licks it like there's honey in it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to be good at it. Call it the fish basket. So Private Lessons was on HBO quite a bit, and I certainly watched the hell out of it. Probably recorded it on VHS when that came along. Moving on a week later, August 28th, The French Lieutenant's Woman, which I wrote down as some fucking boring movie with Meryl Streep and Jeremy Irons.
I never saw it.
I didn't either. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, me either.
It's supposed to be like a highly erotic novel and stuff, isn't it? Like
with Jeremy
people talk about
Irons. She's got two vaginas.
Isn't this the movie that Beeman goes to see in The Americans with his wife?
Possibly. I don't know.
I keep picturing Meryl Streep up on the screen and his wife's bawling her eyes out and crap.
Could have been a different. I mean, she was in a whole bunch of those movies. Those movies weren't targeted for us. Not at all. Not at all. That was Jeremy Irons before he became Jeremy Irons. And the last one. This one was popular, and it was in the zeitgeist for quite a while. I've only seen it once. Great director, Lawrence Kasdan. Starring William Hurt, Mickey Rourke, Kathleen Turner, Ted Danson, and Richard Crenna. It is called Body Heat. Now, it was a noir film. I think it was set in Florida. I don't remember exactly, but you can tell it's a film noir type of thing going on here. But it didn't really. I don't remember anything about it because I don't think
Peak Kathleen Turner though.
Yo, definitely, yeah. But not funny, not something that a kid back then would have watched because it wasn't gratuitous and it wasn't gross. But you guys may have other opinions about that.
No, it was boring to me. But I did think to myself, God, when I become a woman, I want to look like that in a pair of cut-off shorts. Never happened. Never happened for me.
Jeff nailed it. It is peak Kathleen Turner. Except for I really like Kathleen Turner in The Man with Two Brains.
Yeah. So that's around the same time.
Yeah, around the same time. Really, I love The Man with Two Brains. All those old Steve Martin movies, even the shitty ones like Pennies from Heaven. I like them. TV in August of 1981. If you had TV on and you only had network TV, these are the shows that you were watching. Trapper John MD, which was a spinoff of MASH, sort of. Well, it was. Trapper John, all grown up, working in a hospital with Greg Evigan. No, not Greg Evigan. The other guy.
Was there more than one spinoff from MASH?
There's two After MASH and
After MASH.
After MASH.
Trapper John MD, however, was a success. It's a 1 hour. Go ahead.
Didn't he lived in a mobile home, right? In the parking lot of the hospital.
Yeah. Pernell Whitaker from, you might recognize Pernell Whitaker from the show Bonanza. He was one of the brothers, one of the Cartwright brothers. And that's pretty much all I know him from, that and, the Trapper John MD.
There was Walter also was I think that was only a pilot though.
What?
It was W asterisk A asterisk L asterisk T asterisk E asterisk.
Is that a radar spinoff or something? Yeah, that failed.
Walter.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch that, actually, if there's an episode of it sometime.
Probably on YouTube.
Too Close for Comfort was a show that was a huge hit that year. I love that show. God, I love that show.
Ted Knight was the best.
Ted Knight, Jim J. Bullock. He was a cartoonist, so I dug that. Thought that was awesome. And he had the little cow puppet, Cosmic Cow. And the daughters, I couldn't beat the daughters. They were cute and everything. But I really dug that show. It was funny, and it lasted a couple of years. Heart to Heart, that show. If I heard the theme for Heart to Heart with the guy talking over it, I knew that I was up too late.
And this time, it's murder.
But it was a cool show. I mean, Robert Wagner, 1981. He got rid of his wife. He had a whole new career. The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo was a spinoff of, does anyone know?
BJ and the Bear.
That is correct.
I didn't BJ and the Bear.
You didn't?
I did.
Oh, I loved BJ and the Bear.
Yeah.
What's not to like about a guy driving around the country with a chimp?
Now, the second iteration of it he had the train of ladies behind him.
Yeah, I didn't like
that. Yeah, that one wasn't as good.
No, I like the original. It was like every show has that MacGyver A-Team premise. He drives his big rig into some town. We need you and your monkey to help us get rid of the mean landlord. And so he gets rid of the mean landlord. It would have been great or funnier if he had given the chimp a machine gun. But Sheriff Lobo was, the mean Southern. I think that show probably comes after Smokey and the Bandit and those 70s trucker shows. Mm-hmm. So Sheriff Lobo is kind of like a sheriff, the sheriff from why can't I think Smokey and the Bandit? So let's see.
I just picture Sheriff Lobo doing a Polydent commercial. Didn't he do a bunch of Polydent commercials where
he did
out?
Because it was grip.
Yeah.
Oh, that and his deputy, the one with the mustache.
That guy was on Hee Haw.
Yeah.
That he was
everywhere.
Yeah, he was. Oh God, what was his name? I wish I knew. I wish I had a device in front of me. Everything from that era, though, always ends up being on the Simpsons. Bring back Sheriff Lobo. I miss Sheriff Lobo. It's a great show. Hill Street Blues, first real gritty crime drama of the 1980s. Mike Post theme, which we'll talk about in a few minutes when we get to our soundtrack songs. Everybody knew it. That was on the radio too. Blum, blum, blum.
Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street
Blues. Hill Street Blues. Hill Street Blues.
Yeah, it was a good show. It's a gritty, like I said, crime drama. And as first place we saw, what's his name? Dennis France, who ended up being an NYPD Blue. A couple other shows that were huge. Vegas with Robert Urich. He had that really cool car. It was his sidekick in Vegas ended up being Cisco on Deep Space Nine, right?
Was it?
I believe so. Dynasty was on Dynasty. I didn't really like that show. I thought these people are too rich. I like Dallas because even though they were wealthy, they all they lived on a farm and they dressed like normal people. On Dynasty they walked around in gowns and wore a tux in the house. You don't have to wear a fucking tuxedo in the house.
But they got a lot of fights. There's a lot of fights in pond in wishing ponds.
Yeah, they did all these ponds all over their manor, their estate, and they would fight the two women, and they'd fight and fall in. God,
it's Joan Collins. Come on, man. She's like the height of drama is Joan Collins.
Joan Collins and John Derek's first wife, who kind of looked like Bo Derek, and I forget her name right off the top of my head, but that was
and a young saucy Heather Locklear.
Oh yes, pre Fall Guy.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That was Heather Thomas.
Yeah, I know. Pre TJ Hooker. All right. A couple of sitcoms from that era. Bosom Buddies, which was a fantastic show. Very, very funny. Very well done. Didn't last long enough. Mork and Mindy, which was also a very, very funny show. And I don't know, a Happy Day spinoff, actually. Fifth annual Circus of the Stars. See, back then they would do like stars would compete each other in athletic games, or they do circus because they didn't have reality shows yet. So they get everybody from Hollywood together and make sure they had good insurance. And Howard Cosell would, Dave Kaplan, how were you feeling leading the charge of your relay race? Damon Wilson, you are an athlete. I could tell by looking at you, you have the physique of a warrior.
No, but the Circus of the Stars, they actually had them working with animals.
I know they did.
Remember?
Yeah, it was one of those shows. Yeah,
they were on elephants and crap and learning the trapeze and shit.
Joan Collins can arm wrestle a gorilla and win.
And she will. Coming up next.
Coming up tonight on Circus of the Stars.
She tears off the emu's clip-on earrings.
That. Just to go back a second, when Howard Cosell would do the athletic one, the Battle of the Network Stars, he took it seriously. There's Robert Conrad. You know him from the Battery commercial, and Bob Black Sheep. He is the head of the tug of war. What is your plan? We're going to win. You heard it from his lips, the strategic way of winning. Anyway, so.
Howard Cosell, he was a true coxman.
Oh, yeah, he was. We just lost John Lennon. Okay, Dallas is my favorite drama from the 80s. Hands down. Network drama. Very, very, very good show. Back then, a lot of intrigue and a lot of good acting and a lot of weird shots. Like they would talk about social issues when, you remember Sue Ellen was JR's wife. Linda Gray played Sue Ellen. And they were going through a rough patch in their marriage because JR banged everything on earth. And she fell in love with a rodeo cowboy by the name of Dusty. And funny story, Dusty's dad also owned a big ranch and was an oil man and ended up marrying Miss Ellie after Jock died. But that's neither here nor there.
You're quite a Dallas story in there.
Oh, I can talk to you about some Dallas. And poor Sue Ellen, she just she had a drinking problem, a real bad drinking problem. You're a lush, Sue Ellen. I'm going to lock you up, Sue Ellen. I'm going to take John Ross and his 10% of you in oil. And so she started having an affair with Dusty, the rodeo man, cowboy. But he had impotency. He was impotent. And the way it was so dramatic, they'd always have that cheesecloth look, and her lips would quiver. He's impotent. Well, that's how they. Oh, here's another show. Moving on. This was a staple of Saturday nights at my dad's house because when I would go visit my dad, he lived in a trailer and out in the woods, and they only got 3 channels. And when he wanted to change them, he had to go out and climb on the roof of the trailer and turn the thing. Crank the antenna so we could get NBC. Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters was a variety show. It was Barbara, who was a big country star, and her 2 sisters. And she had the young, dumb, blonde sister and the sassy brunette sister. And it was a pretty entertaining show. One thing I noticed back then is they would always wear these low-cut in the back dresses. And Barbara, who was a Christian, she would wear a flesh-colored, like a mesh thing so you couldn't see her back and get tempted.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
I think that was Sid and Marty Krofft production. Was it?
I bet you that was. It was a good variety show. I mean, they had the stars and whatever. Moving on to staying with Saturday nights, because after Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters, you would watch The Love Boat. The Love Boat. Isaac is mixing you all a drink.
The entire ship. The only bartender on the entire ship.
And then, for some reason, all those women found that old doctor.
I know.
Oh, yeah, he's the head of chaos. He's not fooling me. I did like The Love Boat, though. Nothing but cheese. And it's hey, we have an old celebrity. Let's throw him on a love boat. Hey, look.
What's Charo doing this week?
I'm on the show.
They had one with Bert Lahr. You just see people on there. Hey, that guy was Spanky. And then after Love Boat, you had Fantasy Island, which was the same type of thing, just set in one place and more risque. And they also had a French.
You can't say the M word anymore.
French?
No.
Oh.
He's a little person.
Montauban?
Boss, he thought to find out love. That's why he came to the island.
Very true, Tattoo. Maybe he will discover it. Tonight on Fantasy Island, Bob Denver gets shipwrecked with love.
Wasn't Charles Nelson Riley on there?
Oh, nah.
Yeah, his fantasy was to find a bunch of ascots that he's not wearing.
The ultimate game show. Boss, is he a homosexual?
I think he is, Tattoo. Let's find him love. You remember when he died or he quit the show? I think he quit to go on to be. He wanted to be like in movies.
I want to be in movies.
He leaves the show and they replace him with Mr. Belvedere, who wasn't Mr. Belvedere yet, but they go from to that old guy. Oh yes, Mr. Rourke, I will go sit on my balls.
Boss.
He killed himself.
Was they going to try to kill himself?
Yes.
That is terrible. Did you see the bad movie with the from Game of Thrones who tried to play me?
Stop saying the M word.
The little guy who tried to play me, he did not do a very good job. He should stick to being a wine drinker who knows things.
That movie was pretty good.
It was good. I liked it.
You guys ever heard Gilbert do Hervé Villachez?
It's going to be pretty easy for Gilbert, I would imagine.
Yeah, but the content of it is 1,000 times worse than what I just did.
Oh, I have no doubt.
And then last but not least, the Jeffersons was still on the air and still a very good show. Jeffersons was funny right from start to finish, I thought. Yeah, that's right. A lot of you people listen to Casey Kasem. And by you people, I'm talking about you people. It's a Wednesday night. That's why we're gonna count them down. That's right. My name. What was my name last week? You guys remember? I don't remember what it is. I do so much cocaine, I can't remember anything. Yeah. So we're going to do the top 10. These are the top 10 U.S. singles for the week ending August 22nd, 1981. It's taking you back there, doesn't it? Back to when I didn't have to wear a diaper and I had hair. I had hair in 1981. I don't have it now. I'm 78 years old, but I was a DJ. Until about 1994 when I got arrested for mopery. Coming in at number 10, it's the Commodores. And lady, you bring me up. Lady! You bring me up when I'm soft. Isn't that a lyric? I'm just joshing you. Hey, caller number 5. You're on the air. It's the Creepy Jim Show. What's up, going? What's up, young lady? How are you tonight? I'm
doing pretty good. I was just wondering, what was number 9?
Oh, we're getting to number 9. Don't get impatient. Yeah. Keep it on the even keel. Hey, you want to come down? You stop at the gas station and pick me up a pack of Marlboros. Reds now. Come on.
I can't drive yet. I'm only 8.
Oh. Okay, this bit just took a leap.
8.
That's a stretch. It's 12. I mean, you know what I mean.
Well, it's 1981. I'm 8.
All right, well, get back to bed. It's a Wednesday night. Your parents shouldn't let you watch Dynasty. So, okay, click on dodge the bullet. Did you? To answer your question, coming in at number 9 is Ronnie Milsap, and there's no getting over me. That's right. There's no getting over me because when creepy DJ Jim dumps you, you're going to suffer for the rest of your life. That's right. My studio apartment and my dog that I don't take care of, we will miss you very, very much. Ronnie Milsap was blind. case you didn't know that. Another country song on the charts coming up at number 8 is Juice Newton. Juice Newton and the Queen of Hearts. You remember that song? Playing with the Queen of Hearts, smelling everybody's farts. Stephanie said she was 8 years old, and that almost killed the bit. Ooh wah, cool, cool kitty who doesn't love the boy from New York City. That's right, the Manhattan Transfer. Yeah, every 10 years, 20 years or so, you know, some band comes out of nowhere and says, "Hey, let's do some big band jazzy type of thing that everybody's going to love." And I'm like, "Chill out, swing out, sister." The Manhattan Transfer, they're the originals. That's right. Now we're going to bring it up. We get a little rocking and rolling. Coming in at number 6. These are the top 10 songs from August 22nd, 1981. Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty, The Heartbreakers. Stop dragging my heart around. That's right. Stop dragging it around. Okay. Hey, you're on the phone. You got a request?
Stay away from 80-year-olds.
How'd you know? Were you listening to my phone calls? Who is this? Is this your dad? Is this the dad? Look, I didn't know she was 8. I thought she was like... Look, is she into Red and Stimpy? That's a good show. I think you guys want to watch Red and Stimpy. I draw cartoons. Anyway, okay. Coming in at number 5, Rick Springfield and Jesse's Girl. You remember Rick Springfield? He was Dr. Noah Drake on General Hospital. General Hospital, that's right. He's a good singer. Here's his new song, Jesse's Girl, coming in at number 5.
Jesse's 8-year-old girl.
Shut up. Coming in at number 4, it's the Pointer Sisters. The Pointer Sisters, that's right. They just walk around and point at people. They're sisters and they point, and or they give you tips. And they have a little song called "Slow Hand." When it comes to love, they want a man with a slow hand. Now listen, there were 2 versions of that song recorded in 1981. The Pointer Sisters and Conway Twitty. You tell me which one is best. Yeah. Coming in at number 3 on the top 10 Billboard charts for the weekend, August 22nd, 1981, it's Kenny Rogers and I Don't Need You, and that one's going out to the 8-year-old girl who won't stop calling. Stop calling. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air because we're almost at number 1 and I can get the hell out of here and that girl's dad won't try to kill me. Joey Scarberry with the theme from The Greatest American Hero. What a great show that was. William Cott and that other guy. And also Connie Selica. Hey, coming in at number 1. You guys still with me? You got a little Endless Love. It's slowing it down at number 1 for 2 weeks straight. Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. Bookending it with Lionel Richie since she was a Commodore. Endless Love. What a great movie. The late, great Brooke Shields. She passed away not too long ago. She and Robbie Benson fell into an ice-covered lake. And ice capades began, and they floated down the river and ended up in a blue lagoon where they lived forever with no clothes on. And that's your top 10 from the week ending August 22nd, 1981.
So much worse than I remember.
Yeah. Gee. Wonder why. All right, we got about 5 to 10 minutes left, so let's bust through our soundtrack stuff. I'll do mine first. These are all from 1981 soundtracks. 2 of them are instrumentals. We have Chariots of Fire by Vangelis from Chariots of Fire. Speaking of that movie, the star of that film died last week.
Yeah.
And For Your Eyes Only, which is a good song. I loved Sheena Easton before she got all dirty when Prince got to her. She was a nice Scottish lady. Sheena Easton, For Your Eyes Only, from the movie For Your Eyes Only, James Bond film. And then the last one, the theme from Hill Street Blues by Mike Post, which is from Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues, Hill Street Blues, Hill Street Blues.
Piano song, little piano song.
Mike Post had like a string of...
Mike Post, oh yeah, he did. He did the Rockford Files.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, yours.
You don't mind? Journey, Open Arms from the heavy metal soundtrack.
Nice.
One of the two good songs on the soundtrack, according to you.
Yes. The other one being Heavy Metal by Amy Hagar.
I picked Moon Dance from American Werewolf in London. Steph's probably mad.
Oh, very. I was, actually. I was really pissed.
And Just When I Needed You Most by Randy Van Warmer from Private Lessons.
You listen to that song every day.
I do like that song.
It's a great song.
When I Needed You Most? That one?
You left me just when I needed you. Randy Van Warmer. I got my van warming up if you want to bring your daughter out.
18 plus, please.
Yeah, she's 18. Yeah, she's not the young blonde girl from The Americans. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, pedophile DJ. Well, my three, it was very hard
Please.
It was hard to find some songs from 81. They weren't real big on soundtracks at that point.
I know there weren't. I had to look. That's why they do instrumentals.
It was pretty tough, but I snatched up I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss. You know, I threw that on in Endless Love.
Disco Kiss.
I was made for loving you.
It is. It's a great song. It's a disco
It is a good song.
It has a disco bass line and a disco beat to it. It's great.
And then I'm a Man by Keith Emerson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Steve Winwood too. I think they both did that song. But
yes.
From the badass cop flick Nighthawks.
That movie was Stallone and Billy D. Williams and Rutger Hauer. Man, that movie had made an impact on me. It was kind of scary for my age at that time, but I like.
Sure.
Yeah, the music, everything made it weird.
Yeah, and the tinted cop shades that he wore. And then, of course, and then obviously my last one is also an instrumental, and it's the Raiders of the Lost Ark theme song.
Yay! Yay! We will be adding these to our playlist on Spotify, and that link is in the show notes, and we'll also tweet it and Facebook it and Pazam it.
Dustin, you want to put any songs on there?
Yeah, I got to go to the bathroom while you do that, but don't stop.
I was going to look some up, but when I started looking at the show notes, you guys pretty much picked all the ones that there was to choose from, especially the Kiss song. That was the Kiss song was probably the one I went for first.
I went through the whole year of movies that came out in 81, and the soundtracks are it was just not something that they really did back then.
Yeah, actually last night I watched Eyewitness, Sigourney Weaver and William Hurt.
Right.
It came out in 81 as well. And I was kind of looking for Body Heat actually, and I ran across that one, so I watched it. And yeah, it had everyone in it that you could imagine, all the top stars of the time. Storyline was a TJ Hooker episode. I mean, it was that bad. There was no plot to it whatsoever. But yeah, looking for music in 81 was, I guess, the soundtrack with MTV popping up. And I mean, I guess it was something that maybe the next year it got a lot better. Yeah. But yeah, for 81, I guess it was just in production in 80. So none of that would have really brought up anything worth listening to.
I'd say by 83,
it wasn't a score.
Like when Valley Girl came out, that's when like soundtracks really started being a thing. You know, like American or Last American Virgin, that had a really good soundtrack. But anyway,
I guess in those couple of years they were able to, use, MTV was could be a giant marketer for them, and that kind of, all that stuff kind of came into light in the next couple of years.
They had to wait for Kenny Loggins to get ready and record all of his hits from the 80s, which are for some reason all from films.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about what we watched in our staff picks, and then we'll wrap up the show. I'll start, since I seem to have the least, but I actually watched TV this week, guys. You'd be very proud of me. I watched
Congrats.
Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy, which was Jeff Staff. Thank you. Which was Jeff's staff pick last week. A very, very, very moving to me documentary, and just things I hadn't thought about or seen since the early 90s. I was obsessed with that show. It made me want to be a cartoonist. I mean, I already wanted to be, but it was inspirational at the time. And then I just forgot about it, and then, worked at restaurants and decided to not be creative for I don't know how long, for a long time. But seeing that again brought back all those memories, and then how crazy and weird it was what he did to his staff before even the sexual misconduct he had with the younger women. He was just kind of a dick, like a creative douche.
He was the auteur.
Yeah.
It went to his head.
Yes. And that happens to so many people in that industry or any industry like that. When you are a creative, you think you can do no wrong, and the network can't tell you what to do.
He's like, try and make this show without me and stuff. And like, he told the network all the shit, like, we're not going to send you previews of the show anymore.
Yeah.
And all the shit. And the network was like, well, we got to fire him. And they did.
But the thing that I didn't know until this documentary came out is that they fired him, but most of the staff stayed. And those are the people who did the background art. And
Right.
it's just a fascinating, if you're into animation and what goes into making a show like that, definitely check it out. And, if you can stomach it. It's on Amazon Prime. I watched Growing Belushi. You guys watched that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
I liked it. I think he comes off as being affable on a reality show. And the people on the show are also pretty good. I like John Belushi's wife is in it. Dan Aykroyd's been in it. I like that guy with the guy with the weed. What's his name? Captain Jack.
Yeah.
And then is that his older brother or another brother of theirs that runs the place?
No, I don't know. I don't think that guy's related to him, but he is the manager.
Yeah, I like that guy. It
Funny
was
guy.
overall a pretty decent show, and I laughed a couple times, and I never laugh at reality shows.
Those two millennial kids that are running the weed farm.
Yeah. I think they're funny. They're more Gen Z. Other than that, let's see. I listened to John Leguizamo on Gilbert's podcast, the most recent episode of Once Upon a Time in the Valley about Tracy Lords. Director, writer Alan Coulter was on Talking Sopranos last week. That was a very good episode. And I didn't know this existed, the Carson podcast. It's a younger guy, but he probably knows an awful lot about Carson. But John Byner was on the most recent episode. And John Byner, if you remember, he was the host of the first cable network show called Bizarre. And that's where, Super Dave Osborne really took off. And, there were two versions. There was one on TV and there's one on Showtime. So it's pretty interesting. And my staff pick is The Binge, which is coming out on the 28th on Hulu and is a comedy parody of The Purge. So I imagine it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Who's next?
I'll do mine. I also saw the Happy Joy documentary. Watched all of Teenage Bounty Hunters on Netflix. Anybody watch that?
Mm-mm. Is that a reality?
I did. I'm about halfway through it.
It's it's a show shot here in Atlanta. It was originally called Slutty Teenage Bounty Hunters. If
Why
that makes
they
sense.
drop that?
They dropped it because of the whole
Because of
what's going on
COVID?
in the world. No, just
I know.
the general climate.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good and it's funny and it's set in Atlanta and a lot of Atlanta references like,
Okay.
hey, you missed the exit from Mount Perrin Road and that kind of shit.
Ooh. How could you miss that? There's a giant church.
And Dwayne Wayne plays a really good part in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays the leader of the boss bounty hunter guy.
Cool.
Yeah, he owns a frozen yogurt shop as his front. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And Lovecraft Country, I watched both of the episodes that are out so far.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's all right. I like the action sequences more than the story part so far, but I'm gonna stick with it.
I haven't watched the second one yet. I liked the first one. It's so hardcore on the Jim Crow stuff to
Yeah.
It's hard to get through. God, I don't like watching torture porn, and that's what it is, and up until the point when the sci-fi shit starts cracking off, but up until that, you're like, oh my God, it's tough to watch.
Yeah, they set a level of on edge and uneasiness through the whole thing, and then it just kind of tips over with the supernatural stuff when it happens.
And I kind of felt like maybe that's why they made it. I'm not saying that it wasn't that bad back then. I have no doubt that it was. I hate to even think of it, but I feel like they made it even more way over the top so that when the shit started popping off and people started getting their heads ripped off, you were like, yeah.
And I watched The Vow that came on after Lovecraft Country. Did anybody watch that?
No.
It's a documentary on HBO about the NXIVM cult.
Oh, the sex cult.
Yeah.
From the Smallwood.
Yeah. The first one was kind of boring, but I'm going to stick with it. I imagine it'll probably get into the whole sex slaves and branding and all that stuff.
Not enough.
You hope.
Not in the first episode. Listen to some podcasts. Michael Che was on Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Will Ferrell was on Smartless.
That was good. I like that.
My staff pick is Bill and Ted Face the Music, coming out in theaters and pay-per-view on the 28th.
I'll be pay-per-viewing it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's theaters if you're brave enough, but I'll probably do a home viewing myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, Jeff. Steph?
So, Tim, did you watch the Perry Mason finale finally?
No, I haven't. That's the only one I haven't seen. I thought I'd have it finished, but the show just gets better and better with every episode. So
You're getting close, though.
yeah, I totally dig it. He's so good. Everyone on the show is fantastic. That's all I can say.
Well, no, I 100% because pretty much all I've watched is The Americans. I'm now on season 5.
So you're a Matthew Reese out.
I got a thing for him. I got to say, I really do. Misha, it's a great show. I'm kind of glad that I never watched it just because I get to watch it all at once now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, I've been absolutely crazy about that. And the Dodgeball Thunderdome. Have you seen this?
I saw a preview.
Oh yeah, I watched the first one.
It's whatever. I feel like they could really hit you harder with these dodgeballs. I kind of felt like I got gypped.
Yeah.
Because I was wanting it to be like it was when I was a kid, because I was terrible about dodging. I always got nailed in the face. Almost lost my hearing. It was like Teddy Duchamp walking around my head ear to a radiator after the shit was over. And that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see somebody get mangled with it, which they don't really mangle you as good as you'd like. So it's a whatever show. And the Tim Dillon show, his podcast, oh my God, yesterday when he was talking about Cuomo, it was epic. It was an epic rant.
You should see if you can interview him because I bet that would be good and fun. And I think he probably would
You
talk.
think he would give me the time of day? Are you kidding me?
He might. You don't know.
I don't know.
But he's a comedian. What else is he doing right now?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Last week,
he's doing his podcast. That's all he's doing.
Last week when he was talking about going to hotels now and how they offer no amenities. However, they haven't cut the prices at all.
Right.
And he's like, they don't have room service. And he's like, why can't you leave it outside the fucking door like Postmates has been doing for 5 months? This makes no sense. And when they ask him when he gets there, have you had COVID? And he said, I've had COVID since I was a child.
His podcast is funny. He reminds me of a comic from a different era.
Absolutely. It's like a Don Rickles. He's like a modern day Don Rickles practically in a way.
And he can be either too intense or not. I don't know. Sometimes he comes off as too intense, but the more you listen, the more used to it you get. So
he gets away with it because he's funny. And I do think even though he says some crazy shit, he still draws a line. There is a line.
I still say you should try to interview him.
I'll give it a shot. We'll see what he says. But
you got Zoom, do half an hour. We'll throw it on the show.
I'll give it a try. I'll see what he'll do. But anyway, yeah. And the Bill and Bert podcast yesterday, Bill Burr, he finally did some stand up at the Magic Castle. And he said that he was just glad to know that the white woman outrage is still alive and well.
Oh, good. Speaking of stand up, John Heffron just did a couple nights at the Punchline here in Atlanta. I had no idea that they were doing that. And it looked like they were spacing it out nice, right? Did you guys see that? Hello?
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it.
I didn't go to the show, but I saw that they had it spaced out.
Yeah, we should see if Chris or Jamie want to come in and come on and talk about it some night. Did you ask? And they said no?
No.
Yeah.
But we can.
Yeah, ask Jamie if he wants to. Just no politics. We won't talk politics. We'll just talk comedy in his massive hair and beard. Dustin, before we wrap up, do you have a staff pick?
Staff pick? Not really.
Did you watch anything?
I've been honestly, my time for watching TV is limited throughout the week.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little more on YouTube.
Okay. You could watch.
Yeah, but I can tell you what. I watch you guys all week.
You do. You probably way more than you need.
I'm sorry, Dustin.
No, it's fine. It's kind of odd being actually on the show right now because
And now you're going to have to look at yourself all
week
week as you cut it up. Dustin Doe, seriously, thank you for all the work that you've been doing and filling in and jumping on the show, man. We love having you.
Yeah, man, you're killing with those videos.
We are interviewing, speaking comedians, we are speaking with a comedian next week on the show. His name is Rob Hayes. So if you are a Radio Labyrinth patron and you would like to ask him a question, well, you know where we are. We're at patreon.com/Tim Andrews. You can just send a message. If you have any questions for him, he's from Atlanta, Georgia. He's been on The Tonight Show. He's been on House Party on Comedy Central, the new Vice show Flophouse, and he's co-host of the Kanye West podcast, The Book of Ye. So check him out, and if you have any questions, we'll ask him for you right here on the show, okay? But you have to be a patron and all that jazz. Before we wrap up, we got a little message from our friend Beth Van Elswick, who said, "Hey there, I was listening to the podcast. Speaking of Jim Belushi, I know folks who know Belushi and visit his farm. I've smoked his stuff. Pretty cool. Must be nice to live in a legal state. So I can help you if you really want to interview him. And please tell Stephanie I love that she called me out. I am the I am the hemp huntress now after all. So thank you very much, Beth.
Yay, Beth. That would be my dream. If I had money and the time to do it, I would love to come to Beth's farm. I would love to root around Astoria.
Yeah, let's all go out there when the shit's over.
Yes, let's do that. Okay, guys. We're gonna have Ming Chen on. I just noticed. Good job, Jeff. Coming up in a couple of weeks, so that'll be really cool. Talking about virtual Dragon.
Cool.
Thank you guys very much. We will talk to you next week. Unless you guys have anything else you'd like to add.
Nope.
No. I would like to say that Rob, his more current stuff, he was on Sherman's Showcase, which is a show that I love, and it got renewed for season 2. So that's mainly what he's going to come on to talk about.
Okay.
And also that he just started doing stand-up again for the first time since COVID, and he's doing it in the back of a pickup truck.
Nice. Everybody has to be innovative because comics are starving, not being able to apply their craft. All right, guys. Until next week, please remember to, everybody say it at the same time, keep it in. Please like this video and subscribe to our page and turn on your notifications